So let's implement INotify Property Changed Interface. So in a public class EMP, let me ensure that we write it correctly. INotify Property Changed. Now this interface won't show an interlicense. Reason behind that, we need to import a namespace here, which is going to be system.componentModel. So using the simple refactoring, what you can see is we have imported system.componentModel, and then we have the interface now. So in order to implement the interface, let's right click, let's try to implement the interface. So I'll say implement the interface, and this will give me one event which is called as property changed. Now what is it that we need to do? From the CLR's end, whenever somebody changes the name property, we need to convey to WPF runtime that I change, you also change. So here is what happens. Normally whenever any property changes in the code behind, we always call set property. So before, like whenever this change happens, what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise this event called as property changed. Again, initial setting itself is also considered to be a property change. So it's always better that what we do is we should check first whether property has really changed from some X value to Y value. So in here, it's always better to check if the property changed is not equal to null, which means if it's a good time to raise the property change. If yes, then what we are going to do is we are going to simply go for property changed. This property change event is going to expect a couple of parameters. One parameter with respect to which object this change needs to be done, that is this object, and then which property has changed just now. So ultimately what we can do is we can send some property change event arguments which internally expects a property name. As you know that the property name is something that we are binding with respect to WPF elements. So we are trying to tell from CLR's end, that is some property got changed with respect to current object, that is with respect to EMP, and that property which got changed is name property. And then what is it that WPF runtime will do? We'll try to see that which elements have got data context set up ultimately as EMP object, and then which particular elements properties have got name property set up as a value for value in data binding. So that is what is going to go and work now. So here is what we'll do. After the changes are done, we will just quickly check if properties change is not null, and then we will simply raise the property change. Now let us try to see whether this code works. So just like I changed it here, and then it was not working some time back. Now after I changed emp.name to XYZ, it should change and reflect in the UI as well. So here we go, and we will run the application one more time. So let's see whether the change in EMP reflects the change in the UI itself. So here we go. By default value is Mahesh here. Let's try to click on the button. Now notice once I change the value in the source code, the UI also changed itself. So it's very simple to let WPF runtime know that I change, you change as well.